Captain Olivia Clark stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship, defiant, her eyes fixed on the massive holographic display before her. The data was clear and unmistakable. A fleet of unknown vessels had appeared at the edge of the solar system, beyond Neptune's orbit. They were enormous, unlike anything Earth had ever seen. "Confirmed count of 37 major vessels, Captain," said Lieutenant Steve Powell, his voice steady despite the tension. "Largest is approximately 18 kilometers in length." Olivia nodded, taking a deep breath. Humanity had prepared for this moment for decades, but theory and reality were very different things. "Alert status across all EDF bases," she asked. "All stations at Condition 1, ma'am. Global Security Council has been notified. They're assembling now." The bridge crew worked with focused efficiency. No panic, no wasted motion. Years of drills had prepared them for first contact, though none had expected visitors of this scale. "They're moving, Captain," reported Officer Mia Johnson from the sensor station. "Formation is shifting. They're approaching in a standard dominance pattern." Olivia recognized the maneuver from tactical simulations. The aliens were positioning themselves to demonstrate superior force, a clear message before any words were exchanged. "Communications, are we receiving anything?" "Yes, Captain. Signal coming in now. It's being processed through the translation matrix." The main screen flickered, and a figure appeared. Humanoid, but clearly alien. Tall and slender with pale blue skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. The being wore an elaborate uniform adorned with symbols of rank. "I am High Commander Zorax of the Galactic Imperial Fleet." The translation came through clearly. "Earth is now within Imperial territory. Your world is hereby notified of its incorporation into the Galactic Empire. Prepare your leaders to receive instructions for peaceful transition." Olivia straightened her uniform jacket. This was the moment she'd trained for. "High Commander, I am Captain Olivia Clark of the Earth Defense Force. On behalf of Earth, I acknowledge your message. Our governing council will need to be consulted before any response can be given. I request a 48-hour period for our leaders to consider your announcement." The alien's expression changed subtly. "This is not a negotiation, Captain. The Empire does not request entry. We inform worlds of their new status. Nevertheless, High Commander, our protocols require consultation with the Global Security Council. I'm sure you understand the importance of proper procedure." Olivia maintained eye contact with the alien, her voice firm but respectful. A long pause followed. The bridge crew remained silent, the only sounds the soft beeps of monitoring equipment. "You have 24 hours, Captain. No more." The transmission ended abruptly. "They're holding position just beyond Mars orbit," Maya reported. "Scans indicate weapon systems in standby mode." Olivia turned to her executive officer, Commander Paul Rivera. "Begin defensive preparations, but keep it subtle. No aggressive posturing." "Yes, Captain." "And the Council?" "I'll brief them immediately." She looked again at the display, showing the massive alien fleet. "They're making a show of force, but they didn't come here to fight. They expect submission." "What do you think the Council will decide?" Paul asked quietly. Olivia considered the question carefully. Earth had been monitoring deep space for generations, gradually building defenses and technology in secret, preparing for this inevitable day. "I think the Galactic Empire is about to learn that Earth doesn't follow anyone else's rules," she said. "Alert Admiral Carter. Tell him Operation Sovereign Shield may be activated soon." As she left the bridge, Olivia felt the weight of the moment. Humanity's first contact with an advanced alien civilization wasn't the peaceful exchange of knowledge that many had hoped for. Instead, it was an imperial power expecting easy conquest. But Earth had been preparing. And Earth was ready. The Global Security Council chamber hummed with tense energy as the 24 representatives of Earth's unified regions gathered around the circular table. News of the alien fleet had reached every corner of the planet, but panic had been minimal, the result of decades of psychological preparation for this moment. Director Samuel Kelly stood at the central podium, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display showing the alien vessels. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "the Galactic Empire has given us 24 hours to accept their terms of incorporation. Our intelligence indicates this is not a benevolent entity. Based on signals we've intercepted over the past decade, the Empire functions by absorbing worlds and stripping them of resources." He gestured to a series of images showing distant planets with massive mining operations. These worlds were independent before Empire contact. Now they serve as resource colonies. Admiral John Carter, a tall man with silver hair, stood next. "Our defensive capabilities are fully operational. The shield network can be activated within minutes. The orbital platforms remain undetected by their scans. Ground-based defenses are at full readiness." Diplomat Linda Martinez raised her hand. "We should consider negotiation. Perhaps we can secure favorable terms as a member world. Fighting a galactic power seems unwise." "Negotiation from a position of weakness never yields favorable results," countered Regional Director Frank Wilson. "The Empire clearly expects immediate surrender." The Council President, Eleanor Barnes, listened carefully to each speaker. The room fell silent when she finally stood. "For generations, we've known this day would come," she said quietly. "The question before us is simple. Do we join this empire as a subordinate world, or do we stand for our independence?" Samuel Kelly spoke again. "Our long-range sensors have detected transmissions from other worlds under Imperial control. Many appear to be in states of resource depletion or environmental collapse. The Empire takes what it wants and moves on. And our chances if we refuse?" asked a representative from the African Union. Admiral Carter displayed a series of tactical projections. "We've been building our defenses for 50 years. The shield technology, the orbital platforms, the quantum disruption fields, all designed specifically for this scenario. We can hold them off." "For how long?" Martins pressed. "Long enough," Carter replied firmly. "And we have options they don't know about." The council broke into smaller discussions, voices rising and falling across the chamber. Eleanor Barnes let them talk, watching the various alliances form and dissolve around the central question. After an hour of debate, she called for order. "We must vote. The options are clear. Acceptance of imperial rule or declaration of Earth's sovereignty." The vote was conducted in silence, each representative pressing their choice into private terminals. The results appeared on the main screen seconds later. 22 for sovereignty, 2 for acceptance. The room was quiet for a moment before Barnes spoke again. "The decision is made. Earth will not join the Galactic Empire. We authorize Operation Sovereign Shield effective immediately." Admiral Carter nodded grimly. "I'll notify all defense commands. I'll prepare our response," Linda Martinez said, accepting the will of the Council despite her earlier position. "Ambassador Daniel Wright will deliver our formal declaration," Barnes decided. "He has the diplomatic experience for this mission." As the Council dispersed, Samuel Kelly approached Barnes. "This is unprecedented, Madam President. No world has ever refused the Empire." "Then it's about time someone did," Barnes replied. "Humanity didn't survive and thrive for hundreds of thousands of years just to become someone else's colony." Outside the council chambers, the sun set over New Geneva, citizens going about their evening routines, unaware that their world had just made a decision that would echo across the stars. Earth would stand alone if necessary, but it would stand free. Ambassador Daniel Wright adjusted his formal uniform as the Earth shuttle approached the designated meeting point. Through the viewport, he could see the Imperial diplomatic vessel waiting, sleek, imposing, and nearly 5 times the size of their own craft. "Remember," he said to his small team, "we show respect, but not deference. We are equals meeting equals." Next to him, his security chief Natalie Brown nodded silently, her eyes scanning the approaching vessel for any signs of threat. The shuttle docked with a gentle thud. Wright took a deep breath. The fate of Earth rested partly on how he handled the next hour. As the airlock cycled open, Wright and his team were greeted by a contingent of Imperial officers. Their leader, a tall blue-skinned figure, stepped forward. "I am Sub-Commander Vex, advisor to High Commander Zorax. You will follow me to the meeting chamber." The Earth delegation was led through corridors of gleaming metal, past uniformed aliens who watched them with mixture of curiosity and disdain. Wright noted everything: the number of armed personnel, the layout of the ship, the technologies on display, all information that might prove useful. The meeting chamber was a large circular room with a raised platform where High Commander Zorax waited. His eyes, like swirling galaxies, fixed on Wright as he entered. "Ambassador," Zorax's voice was deep and resonant, "your leaders have had sufficient time to accept reality. When will Earth begin its integration process?" Wright stepped forward, standing tall. "High Commander, I bring a formal response from the Global Security Council of Earth." He removed a small data crystal from his pocket and placed it on the table between them. The crystal projected a holographic document, the Declaration of Earth's Sovereignty. "Earth has considered your offer of incorporation and has decided to decline," Wright said clearly. "Our world chooses to remain independent." A strange silence filled the room. The Imperial officers looked at each other in confusion. "Perhaps there is a translation error," Zorax finally said. "No world declines Imperial membership. It is not an option. For Earth, it is." Wright's voice remained steady. "We have our own path of development and wish to maintain our independence." Zorax's expression darkened. "You misunderstand. The Empire is not asking. Earth will join, or Earth will be made to join. We hope for peaceful relations," Wright continued, "but if threatened, Earth will defend itself." Laughter rippled through the Imperial officers. Zorax spoke with clear amusement. "With what? Our scans show primitive defensive capabilities at best. Your world has only recently achieved basic space travel." Wright smiled slightly. "Your scans show what we allowed them to show. Earth has been preparing for extraterrestrial contact for generations." At a signal from Wright, Natalie Brown activated a small device. Immediately, holographic images appeared showing Earth's true defense network, a planetary shield system, orbital platforms with advanced weapons, and a fleet of ships previously hidden from Imperial sensors. "This is a fraction of our capabilities," Wright said. "We preferred not to display them unless necessary." The amusement vanished from Zorax's face. "This changes nothing. The Empire has subjugated hundreds of worlds. Many had impressive defenses. All now serve the Empire." "Perhaps," Wright acknowledged. "But Earth will be different. We do not seek conflict, but we will not surrender our freedom." Zorax stood, towering over the humans. "You have made a grave mistake. The Empire does not tolerate rebellion. You have 24 hours to reconsider before we demonstrate our power." Wright gathered his team with a glance. "Then we have nothing more to discuss today. Earth's position is clear. We choose freedom over submission." As they returned to their shuttle, Natalie whispered, "That went about as expected." Wright nodded. "Now we see if our preparations were enough." The shuttle detached from the Imperial vessel, heading back to Earth where defenses were already activating across the planet. The line had been drawn. Earth had declared itself closed to the Galactic Empire, and soon they would learn if they could back up those words. The 24-hour deadline passed without further communication from the Galactic Empire. Dr. Patricia Miller stood in Earth's primary defense control center, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as data streams flowed across the curved wall of monitors. As the chief scientist of Project Guardian, she had overseen the development of Earth's planetary shield system for 15 years. "Movement detected," announced one of her technicians. "Imperial fleet is breaking formation." Patricia's fingers moved swiftly across her control panel, bringing up tactical displays. Alert status to maximum. Shield generators to full power. Across the globe, Hidden facilities hummed to life as massive energy conduits channeled power to the planetary defense grid. In orbit, camouflaged platforms shed their stealth coverings, revealing advanced weapon systems. Admiral Carter's voice came through the command channel. All defense stations report ready. Earth fleet in defensive positions. On the main screen, they watched as the Imperial vessels advanced in attack formation. Smaller craft poured from the larger ships, forming strike groups aimed at Earth's major cities. "They're trying to overwhelm us with numbers," Patricia noted, just as the simulations predicted. Lieutenant Ryan Foster sat in the cockpit of his fighter, one of 200 waiting in the upper atmosphere. Through his neural link, he could feel his squadron's tension as they watched the approaching enemy. "Eagle Squadron, maintain position," he ordered. "Wait for shield engagement before launch." The first Imperial weapons fire came moments later, brilliant beams of energy slicing toward Earth's surface. As they reached the outer atmosphere, the planetary shield activated. A shimmering blue barrier materialized, absorbing the attacks in ripples of light. In the control center, Patricia monitored the shield performance. Power levels holding at 87%. Impact absorption working within parameters. The Imperial forces intensified their attack, concentrating fire on specific points of the shield. Patricia made rapid adjustments, reinforcing those areas with additional power. "They're testing for weaknesses," she explained to Admiral Carter. "Time to show them our response capabilities." At her command, Earth's orbital platforms activated, firing precision beams at the smaller Imperial vessels. Several exploded immediately, caught off guard by the unexpected counterattack. "Eagle Squadron, you are clear to engage," came the order that Ryan Foster had been waiting for. "Target the second wave of their attack force." "Copy that," Ryan replied, feeling his fighter accelerate as he led his squadron upward through special shield gates. Eagles moving to intercept. The space above Earth erupted in combat. Earth's fighters were smaller than the Imperial craft, but more maneuverable. Ryan rolled his ship through a tight turn, locking onto an enemy vessel and firing. The Imperial ship exploded in a silent flash. "Keep them off the shield generators," Ryan commanded his squadron. "Don't let them establish a concentrated attack point." In the control center, Patricia watched the battle unfold with focused intensity. "Shield holding at 73%, she reported. "Their weapons are powerful, but our absorption technology is working." The Imperial fleet, clearly surprised by Earth's resistance, began to adjust their tactics. Several of their larger vessels moved forward, charging what appeared to be main weapons. "Energy spike detected," called out a technician. Massive power buildup in their flagship. Patricia's hands flew across her controls. "Divert additional power to the North American shield sector. Prepare countermeasures." The Imperial flagship fired, a massive beam of energy that struck Earth's shield with devastating force. The barrier held, but flickered visibly under the assault. "Shield at 58% in targeted sector," Patricia announced, her voice remaining steady despite the strain showing on her face. Ryan Foster saw the attack from his position above the atmosphere. "Squadron 3 and 4, with me. We're going after that flagship." His fighters regrouped quickly, diving toward the massive Imperial vessel while dodging enemy fire. They released their most powerful weapons directly at the ship's main cannon. The combined assault temporarily disabled the Imperial weapon. Seeing this success, other Earth squadrons targeted the remaining large vessels, focusing on weapons systems. After 3 hours of intense battle, the Imperial fleet began to pull back, their formation ragged. Earth's defenses, while strained, had held. "They're retreating beyond lunar orbit," reported a sensor operator. Patricia allowed herself a small smile. They didn't expect us to be ready. This was just their first attempt. In his fighter, Ryan watched the enemy withdrawal. "They'll be back," he said to his squadron. "But now they know. Earth fights back." Major Grace Wilson studied the security feeds in her underground command center, coffee cup long gone cold beside her keyboard. The Empire's direct attack had failed, but intelligence suggested they wouldn't rely on brute force alone. After 3 days of relative quiet, Earth's leaders remained on high alert. "Major, we've got anomalous readings from Sector 7, reported her analyst, Officer Ben Harris. "Energy signatures that don't match our technology." Grace leaned forward, eyes narrowing at the data. "Location: New Geneva, near the Global Council headquarters." She immediately opened a secure channel. "This is Major Wilson. I need a surveillance team in New Geneva, Sector 7, immediately. Possible Imperial infiltration." Across the city, Security Officer Kevin Martinez was already on duty, patrolling the streets around the council building. His augmented reality glasses subtly scanned passing civilians for unusual readings. "Officer Martinez, this is Command. We have suspicious energy signatures in your vicinity. Proceed with caution and investigate." Kevin acknowledged the order and began moving toward the coordinates sent to his glasses. The busy streets of New Geneva continued as normal, people hurrying to work, unaware of the potential threat walking among them. His scanner pinged quietly as he approached a small cafe. Inside sat 3 humans who appeared perfectly normal, 2 men and a woman in business attire, drinking coffee and checking their devices. But the scanner showed something else. Subtle energy fields surrounding them, masking their true nature. Kevin reported back to Grace. "Potential targets identified. 3 subjects using holographic disguises." "Confirmed," Grace replied after checking the sensor data. "Approach with caution. Backup is 4 minutes out." Kevin entered the cafe casually, ordering a coffee while keeping the suspects in his peripheral vision. One of them, a man in a gray suit, was working on a tablet device that had unusual components visible only to Kevin's enhanced vision. The infiltrators suddenly stiffened, looking up as if receiving a message. They rose together and headed for the exit. Kevin followed, maintaining distance. "Suspects on the move," he reported quietly, heading east toward the council building. Grace's voice came through his earpiece. "They may be planning to sabotage the shield control node beneath the council. Intercept if possible." The 3 suspects separated, taking different routes. Kevin followed the man with the tablet, the most likely technical specialist. Through narrow streets and across plazas, Kevin maintained visual contact while backup teams tracked the others. The suspect entered a maintenance tunnel leading to the underground levels of the council building. Kevin waited until the man was deep in the tunnel before making his move. "Security, stop where you are," Kevin called, drawing his stun weapon. The infiltrator turned, his human disguise flickering to reveal blue skin and luminous eyes. He raised a device that emitted a disabling pulse. Kevin dove behind a maintenance panel as the pulse shot past. His training kicked in. He rolled to a new position and fired his stun weapon. The blast caught the infiltrator mid-chest, disrupting both his disguise and his neural functions. "One suspect subdued," Kevin reported, approaching cautiously. "The device appears to be some kind of shield disruptor." Across the city, Grace's other teams cornered the remaining infiltrators. One was captured trying to access a power relay station. The other was apprehended near a communications hub. Back at command, Grace reviewed the preliminary findings. "They were trying to take down our shields from the inside. Classic infiltration tactics." The captured infiltrators were held in special containment cells designed for non-human biology. Under questioning, they revealed key information about Imperial tactics and weaknesses. "Their main fleet has vulnerabilities we can exploit," Grace told the Council during her briefing. "Their ships depend on a centralized command structure. Disrupt that, and their coordination fails." High Commander Zorax received the news of the failed infiltration with cold fury. His subordinates shrank back as he studied the tactical displays. "These humans are more resourceful than anticipated," he admitted grudgingly. "We need a new approach." In New Geneva, Kevin Martinez received a commendation for his actions. As he stood on his apartment balcony that evening, looking up at the stars, he wondered how many other Imperial agents might already be on Earth, waiting to strike from within. Engineer Michelle Scott worked in the dimly lit laboratory beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, her fingers flying across holographic controls as she fine-tuned her latest creation. For weeks, she had been developing communication technology that could bypass Imperial monitoring systems. Final adjustments complete, she announced to her small team. If my calculations are correct, this signal will be invisible to Imperial sensors. The device before her looked deceptively simple, a crystalline sphere housing complex quantum circuitry. What made it revolutionary was its ability to transmit messages through subspace without leaving detectable traces. "Are we ready to attempt contact?" asked her assistant, checking the final calibrations. Michelle nodded. The Imperial fleet has hundreds of subjugated worlds in their territory. If even a fraction of them harbor resistance movements, we could create a network strong enough to challenge the Empire. The signal was sent, a simple message repeated across multiple frequencies. "Earth stands free. Others can too. Respond if you hear us." For 3 days, nothing happened. The team maintained constant monitoring, hoping for any reply. On the 4th day, as Michelle was about to enter shift, a faint signal appeared. "We're receiving something," her assistant called out. "It's using our encryption pattern." The message was brief. "Proxima Colony hears you. We remember freedom." Within 2 weeks, 7 more responses came from worlds across the Empire. Each had been conquered, their resources exploited, their people subjugated. Each had underground resistance movements waiting for an opportunity. Captain Alan Douglas was selected to lead Earth's diplomatic mission to these potential allies. A veteran of first contact scenarios, he understood the delicate nature of building trust among different species. "Our mission is clear," he told his crew as their ship prepared to depart using Michelle's stealth technology. "We offer these worlds partnership, not leadership. Earth cannot stand alone against the Empire forever. We need allies who share our commitment to freedom." Their first destination was Proxima Colony, once an independent human settlement now under Imperial control for 30 years. Landing in secret, they met with resistance leaders in an abandoned mining facility. "We had given up hope," admitted resistance leader Elena Rivera. "The Empire's control seemed absolute. Your message changed everything." Alan shared Earth's defensive technology specifications. "These shield designs can protect key facilities from Imperial weapons. The communication devices will connect your resistance with others." From Proxima, they traveled to Vega IV, a world of amphibious beings who had once controlled a prosperous trading network before Imperial conquest. "Your defiance is spreading through Imperial territory like fire," the vegan resistance leader told Alan. "Ships are being sabotaged, supply lines disrupted. The Empire faces challenges on multiple fronts for the first time." At each world, Alan's team established secure communication links and shared defensive technology. They gathered intelligence about Imperial fleet movements and weaknesses. Most importantly, they built trust among species who had never worked together before. On the water world of Aquarius, Alan addressed representatives from 12 different resistance movements who had gathered in secret. "Earth does not seek to replace the Empire with our own dominion," he assured them. "We envision a galaxy where each world determines its own future, where trade and cooperation replace exploitation." Michelle's communication network expanded rapidly, creating a hidden web of resistance that spanned Imperial territory. Ships began disappearing from Imperial supply routes. Key facilities suffered mysterious failures. Information flowed freely among formerly isolated resistance cells. High Commander Zorax faced growing pressure from Imperial Central Command. Reports of unrest poured in from across their territory. "These disturbances began after Earth's defiance," his intelligence officer reported. "They are coordinating somehow, despite our communication jamming." Zorax stared at the galactic map, watching as trouble spots multiplied. "Earth must be eliminated. They are proving that resistance is possible." Back on Earth, Michelle received Alan's latest report with satisfaction. "The Alliance is growing stronger every day," she told the Council. "We're no longer alone in this fight. The plan was working. When the Empire returned to crush Earth, they would face not just one defiant world, but the beginnings of a revolution that had spread throughout their own territory. The Imperial battle fleet emerged from hyperspace without warning, nearly 3 times larger than their previous force. 1,000 ships formed a sphere around Earth, weapon systems glowing with energy as they prepared to erase humanity's defiance from the galaxy. On the bridge of the Imperial flagship, High Commander Zorax stood with arms crossed, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. No negotiations this time, he declared to his officers. We will break their shield and end this rebellion before it spreads further. But Earth was ready. Dr. Patricia Miller had spent weeks enhancing the planetary shield system, incorporating knowledge gained from their new allies. The shield now pulsed with layers of energy, each designed to counter specific Imperial weapons. Shield at full capacity, she reported from the control center. All sectors online and reinforced. Admiral Carter nodded grimly. And our allies? In position and awaiting the signal. The Imperial fleet opened fire simultaneously, thousands of energy beams striking Earth's shield. The barrier held, absorbing and redistributing the energy across its surface. Lieutenant Ryan Foster led the first wave of Earth's defenders, his fighter squadron launching from hidden bases around the planet. Remember your training, he told his pilots. Hit and fade. Don't give them a stationary target. Earth's fighters struck at the Imperial fleet's perimeter, targeting sensor arrays and weapon emplacements before retreating back under the shield's protection. The tactic forced the Imperial ships to constantly adjust their positions, disrupting their coordinated attack patterns. On the Imperial flagship, alarms sounded as damage reports poured in. Maintain bombardment, Zorax ordered. Their shield cannot withstand sustained fire indefinitely. What Zorax didn't know was that Earth wasn't fighting alone. Hidden among the stars, ships from a dozen worlds waited for the signal. When it came,